One of the many moving parts of the Arizona Constitution is direct democracy. That is when the people get to vote on a proposed new law or amendment, or they can vote on the removal of a law or person in office. The way that Arizona has implemented this part of the Constitution is through initiatives and referendums. Initiatives are a process that enables citizens to be able to bypass their state legislator by placing their own proposed statutes onto the ballot for the people to vote. There are two different types of initiatives. There is the direct and indirect. The direct initiative is a proposal that qualifies and goes straight to the ballot. Indirect is a proposal that is submitted to the legislative. If the legislative approves the proposal, then it doesn't need to go onto the ballot. It's unnecessary to do that. But if the legislator does not adopt or approve of the initiative, then it goes onto the ballot for the people to vote. The referendum, on the other hand, it is also a vote that appears on the ballot, but the referendum allows voters to approve or appeal the act of legislator. So if the legislative passes a law that the voters don't approve of, they're able to gather signatures to demand a popular vote. If the voters approve of the law, then it goes on as scheduled. If the voters reject the law, it is then voided. When creating an initiative or referendum, you need to write the text of the proposed law that you would like to make or the one that you're wanting to change. You then need to submit a copy to the Attorney General or whoever it is that you need to and request for a title and summary to be made for the proposed law that you're either wanting to change or to make. Then you have to go and make sure you're making the correct format that is needed for whichever the law it is that you're working on. After you create the format, you then go around and you start your petition. Both initiatives and referendums use petitions and they use signatures, which is how they get their numbers to make the vote pass or not. Some of the differences between initiative and referendum is there's actually one main difference. Initiatives are how voters can propose new laws, while referendums are how voters can veto laws that have already been written into place. There are pros and cons to the direct democracy and going on with initiatives and referendums. Some of the pros are that it keeps the legislator in check. It keeps them from going on to a power high where they can just make these rules despite what the people think. It gives the people a voice, and it forces the legislator to be responsive, and address the issues that are being brought up. Some of the cons are, especially when it comes to the initiative, with the laws being written by people and not government lawyers, some of the laws can be poorly drafted and poorly written. So they can be left up for interpretation. It being able to just add on laws for people to vote on, it adds to the number and the complexity of what voters already have to vote on. And if there are too many things that are being voted on, voters aren't doing their due diligence in what it is. They're just going in to do their votes. And then the last con would be, it's, quote, the tyranny of majority. It's where when you're counting on people's vote, the majority groups really can hinder the minority groups. The majority groups are always going to have their say and always going to be heard, while the minority groups, they're not going to have their opportunity to feel heard. So with initiatives and referendums, they support direct democracy because they provide a way for the people to propose new laws or amendments and they also speak against the laws that they already can have in place in moving.